Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nikodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's 10 p.m. on Sunday, April 9th, 2023. Arkansas has approved a bill that regulates Bitcoin mining. So that means the House of Representatives has passed it, the Senate has passed it, and now it's awaiting approval from the governor's office. This bill is called the Arkansas Data Centers Act of 2023, and it aims to regulate the Bitcoin mining industry in the state. It will establish guidelines for miners, and it will also protect them from unfair regulations and taxes. Senator Joshua Bryant proposed the bill on March 30th, and Arkansas state legislators passed it quickly. The document acknowledges the positive economic effect of data centers on local communities. The bill requires digital asset miners to pay relevant taxes and fees in acceptable currency forms, which is an interesting point. I mean, literally what it says is, quote, to pay applicable taxes and government fees in acceptable forms of currency. Additionally, miners must operate in a way that doesn't strain the Arkansas electrical grid. This legislation grants crypto miners the same rights as data centers. Now, according to the bill, this means that the Arkansas government cannot impose different requirements on digital asset mining businesses than on data centers. They have to be treated the same. This follows a similar initiative in Montana, where the state Senate passed a bill at the end of March. The Montana bill aims to protect crypto miners by eliminating discriminatory energy rates and taxes on digital assets used for payments. It also seeks to protect digital asset businesses. Now, Texas, they took a different approach. The Texas Senate Committee on Business and Commerce passed a bill on April 4th. This bill removes incentives for miners operating under the state's crypto-friendly regulatory environment. Meanwhile, in November of 2022, New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed the Proof-of-Work mining moratorium into law. That moratorium bans new or renewed crypto mining activities for the next 2 years. On a national level, President Joe Biden proposed a budget on March 9th. His budget would subject crypto miners to a 30% tax on electricity costs. Rather than finding opportunities in crypto mining, they see only threats. Now, let's go back to Texas for just a minute, because two lawmakers from Texas have introduced identical bills, and this is our cover story for the night. These two bills aim to create a digital currency, and this digital currency would be state-based and would be backed by gold. However, some U.S. lawmakers have raised objections against the introduction of a central bank digital currency. Despite this opposition, the Texas lawmakers are pushing for their state-based digital currency to be established. On March 10th, Senator Brian Hughes introduced State Bill 2334. Representative Mark DeRazio introduced House Bill 4903 on the same day. These bills propose that a fractional equivalent amount of physical gold would back the digital currency. Now, according to these bills, every unit of the digital currency represents a specific fraction of a troy ounce of gold in trust. The bills clarify that when someone buys some of that digital currency, the comptroller will use the money to buy the same amount of gold. Once the comptroller buys the equivalent amount of gold, the purchaser will receive digital currency worth the same amount. The bills state that the value of a unit of digital currency should match the value of the appropriate fraction of a troy ounce of gold during the transaction. The bills state that the trustee must keep enough gold to redeem all issued digital currency units for gold or money. They also suggest that a fee could be charged to cover the expenses of administering the chapter at any necessary rate. Now, these bills have not been passed or even voted on yet. Even so, both state that the act will take effect on September 1st of this year. Meanwhile, some U.S. lawmakers have expressed opposition to the introduction of a CDBC of any kind. On March 20th, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis expressed his concern over CDBCs in a press conference, stating that it would give more power to the government and allow them to directly monitor consumer activities. The following day, Republican Senator Ted Cruz introduced a bill that would prohibit the Fed from launching a direct-to-consumer CDBC. Cruz believes that it's essential to ensure U.S. digital currency policies protect financial privacy, maintain the dollar's dominance, and promote innovation. Now, as far as the cover story goes, I don't think giving any government control over your piggy bank or wallet is a good idea. Whether that's the federal government or even your state or local governments, which you might view as being more on your side. The problem with that is simple. You might like the people in charge right now, but then think about your political opponents. Do you want them to be in charge of your money? Because with a central bank digital currency, one day they will be. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe region-based CDBCs are the way to go. Let the local governments take care of local commerce needs and let the federal government only handle the rules of commerce between states and not the currency. Let me know what you think in the comments for tonight's show. And now I'm going to take just a moment to ask you to like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. It's a big help in bringing attention to the overnighter, and I really do appreciate it, so thank you. On Thursday, the U.S. Treasury Department released its first illicit finance risk assessment report about decentralized finance. This 42-page report shows that people like cybercriminals, ransomware attackers, and scammers use DeFi services to move and clean their illegal money. The report argues that DeFi services that are subject to the Bank Secrecy Act are not following the anti-money laundering terrorism financing regulations. And that creates a weakness that illegal actors can exploit. The report also mentions the lack of a common understanding among those in the industry of how those obligations relate to DeFi services. Well, that worsens the risk. In some instances, providers may intentionally try to decentralize a virtual asset service to evade triggering identification obligations. However, they fail to realize that these obligations still apply as long as the provider offers covered services. This report also acknowledges that illegal finance through DeFi and crypto is still small when compared to activities conducted with government-issued or fiat currency. It's just a tiny percentage. This assessment recognizes that the majority of money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation financing by volume and value of transactions happens in fiat currency or through more conventional methods outside the virtual asset ecosystem. Treasury recognizes the progress of industry services such as blockchain analytics, but the report's authors believe that they do not entirely solve the vulnerabilities. They suggest that the U.S. government should promote the responsible innovation of compliance tools for the industry. Many in the private sector are already pursuing this path. The Bitcoin Network's original white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto may be hiding in a Macintosh computer near you. Technologist Andy Baio shared in an April 5th blog post that a PDF version of the Bitcoin white paper appears to have been included with every macOS version since Mojave in 2018. It was while attempting to scan a document with a wireless scanner that Baio stumbled upon a new device called Virtual Scanner 2. Now, he'd never seen this device before, and he was just going to try to fix his printer. But you see something like that and you got to check it out, So at first, Virtual Scanner 2 displayed a photo. But when he switched the media type to document, Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper on Bitcoin appeared. Now, understandably, Baio was surprised. In his blog post, Baio noted that there is very little information available about this discovery online. However, he found a November 2020 Twitter thread from designer Joshua Dickens, who also found the white paper, and he used Dickens' thread to locate the file. Now, according to Baio's blog post, the file is present in every version of macOS from Mojave on to the current version, but it is not available in High Sierra or earlier versions. Now, as far as why Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper is included in the modern versions of macOS is unclear. In his blog post, Baio suggested that it may have been included as a convenient, lightweight, multi-page PDF for testing purposes and was not intended to be seen by end users. NFT marketplace Looks Rare announced an upgrade to version 2 on April 6th. With this upgrade, the company has reduced its fees by 75%. In version 1, LooksRare charged a fee of 2% per trade, but this has been reduced to 0.5% in version 2. The new version also features more gas-efficient contracts, which can save users about 30% on gas fees compared to the previous version. In version 2, LooksRare made changes to its smart contracts that benefit users. Sellers now receive Ether instead of wrapped Ether for most sales. The new contracts also allow for bulk buying and selling, which is useful for users who want to place multiple trades simultaneously. Furthermore, aggregators can now implement custom recipients, allowing users to buy an NFT with one wallet but send it to another. Another new feature of version 2 is the ability for sellers to list their NFTs for sale in token prices instead of Ethereum. This includes the option to list the NFT for a fixed US dollar price to be paid in equivalent ETH. In a separate post on April 7th, the LooksRare team announced that version 1 of the app will be sunsetted. Starting on April 12th, the app's front end will no longer allow users to post version 1 auctions through the public API. All current version 1 auctions will be removed from the website at 10 a.m. UTC on April 13th, and the smart contracts will be disabled through an admin function at 11 a.m. UTC. Many LooksRare's users have reacted positively to the announcement. They believe that the new features will give the platform a competitive edge against other NFT marketplaces such as OpenSea and Blur. However, some users are not convinced that the changes made are enough to attract users from other platforms. Some users believe that version 2 still does not provide enough token incentives or the ability to list a sufficient number of collections. In October, LooksRare faced controversy when it eliminated creator royalties. Despite this, the platform has seen a boost in business due to recent surge in NFT prices. In 2022, there was a lot of talk about Web3. And now, in 2023, people are starting to put their plans into action. Luxury brands are now using Web3 in practical ways that relate to their physical products. They're not just creating digital assets for the metaverse. Instead, they're using crypto and digital assets for transactions. That's the most interesting part. Luxury brands are getting interested in Web3. And while those brands focus specifically on selling luxury goods, there's more to it than just making money. These brands also have loyal customers who are following them into the world of Web3. For example, Ralph Lauren is partnering with BitPay to accept cryptocurrency at their new store in Miami. They're also offering a crypto-native experience that includes giving out NFTs. They're working with an online leisure community called Pool Suite, and they're saying that it's related to the Miami lifestyle. Now, Merrick Theobald is the vice president of marketing at BitPay, and he says that people like to use cryptocurrency to buy luxury goods because it's popular and there are easy-to-use platforms available. He said that education is important if people want to use crypto. People need to learn about blockchain technology and wallets. They need to learn how to send digital assets to the right address. Now, this goes for both customers and merchants. BitPay has collected data that shows nearly 20% of the purchases made with crypto last year were for luxury goods. This includes things like gold, jewelry, watches, boats, real estate, yachts, and handbags. Cars and yachts made up 20% of the purchases, while jewelry and clothing made up 15% and watches made up 12%. Now, when a store like Ralph Lauren starts accepting crypto, it shows that luxury goods are becoming more popular among people who use crypto. But what does this mean for the future of using crypto to pay for things? If people are going to use crypto for everything, they need to be able to use it to buy everyday things, not just luxury goods. This has been a problem in the past, but Theobald thinks that things will change soon. He thinks that people will start using crypto to pay for everyday things because they're already using it to buy luxury goods. And he points out that this is already happening in some places, like El Salvador, where Bitcoin is legal tender. He also says that more online stores are starting to offer crypto as a payment option. Theobald thinks that people will start to use crypto more as they learn about it and find easier ways to use it. He thinks that peer-to-peer transfer services and education will help with this. and I am a firm believer in education. And we're going to call it there for the night. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating or a review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.